Have you ever thought about what holds a country together? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating puzzle at the heart of Nigeria. We're going to find out how a language from thousands of miles away became the official tongue of one of Africa's most diverse nations. And trust me, the story is way more surprising than you might think.
Okay, first, just try to wrap your head around this number. 500 plus. That's how many unique indigenous languages are spoken in Nigeria. And we're not talking about dialects here. These are completely distinct languages. Now, that kind of linguistic richness is incredible for sure, but it also creates a massive challenge. How do you get everyone on the same page?
And that right there is the big question, isn't it? In a nation with this incredible wealth of native languages, how on earth did English, a language brought in by colonizers, end up as the one single official language for everything? Government, school, you name it.
Well, the answer is this amazing story of history, of pure necessity, and, adaptation. You can think of Nigeria as this beautiful, complex tapestry woven from countless different threads. In English, strange as it sounds, became one of the most important threads holding the whole thing together.
So to really understand how this happened, we've got to go back, way back. Let's trace the journey of the English language and see how it first, rather unexpectedly, landed on Nigerian shores. So the very first contact was way back in the late 1500s with British traders and missionaries. But a really key moment came in 1807, when the British abolished the slave trade. Many freed Nigerians eventually returned, and they brought Western education with them. Then, by the late 1800s, colonization kicked into high gear, and English was made the official language of administration. And that sat us stuck, even after Nigeria finally won its independence in 1960.
But here's the really wild part, the part you probably wouldn't expect. The early missionaries, they weren't even trying to spread English. No, their main goal was to translate the Bible into local languages so that people could learn to read it in their own tongue. The fact that English spread so widely was almost an accident, a byproduct of their other work.
Okay, so that's the history lesson. But what about today? How does all of that colonial history actually play out in modern Nigeria? Let's fast forward to the present and see just how essential English has become.
All right, first up, let's take a look at how the country is actually run.
In government, English is, and I mean this, the absolute backbone of the entire system. Just imagine trying to write laws in a country with over 500 languages. Which one do you pick? It's impossible. So English acts as this neutral, common ground. It's used for all laws, all courts, all official business. It's the only way to make sure the government can communicate clearly with all of its citizens.
Next, let's step into the classroom.
When it comes to education, the role of English is just fundamental. I mean, look at this journey. From the very beginning of primary school, English is a major subject. Then, starting in the 4th year, it becomes the language of instruction for everything else. Math, science, history, you name it. And it doesn't stop there. You absolutely have to get a credit in English to even get into a university, and then you have to pass another mandatory English course just to graduate. It's woven into the very fabric of learning.
So what about the news people watch or the movies they see? How do Nigerians get their information?
Well, the media landscape is just overwhelmingly English. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. If you want to reach the biggest possible audience across the entire country, what language are you going to use? English, of course. Major newspapers, the biggest TV stations, and even the world-famous Nollywood film industry, they all primarily use English. It's literally the language of the national conversation.
And finally, let's talk about the economy. Let's talk business.
In the world of Nigerian business and commerce, English is king. It's the undisputed language of opportunity. It doesn't matter if you're signing a local contract or closing a huge international deal, it's all happening in English. The biggest corporations like the Dangote Group and MTN, plus the entire banking sector, they all rely on it for, well, everything.
So when you start to put all these pieces together, you've got government, education, media, business. A much bigger picture starts to form. English has become way more than just a language. It's become a critical tool for national unity.
And this, right here, is the heart of the paradox. In a nation of more than 500 languages, one single foreign language became the essential bridge. It offers a neutral platform that lets people from completely different ethnic and linguistic backgrounds connect, understand each other, and build a shared national identity.
But its job doesn't stop at Nigeria's borders. This language also serves as the nation's most important connection to the rest of the planet.
You know, there's a perfect term for this role. It's a lingua franca. English is the lingua franca inside Nigeria, connecting all its diverse peoples, but it's also a global lingua franca, connecting the entire nation to the wider world.
And being proficient in English is frankly a huge advantage on the world stage. It unlocks access to international business, to science, to technology. It's the main language of the internet. It opens up all these opportunities for travel, for higher education. It really is Nigeria's bridge to the rest of the world.
Which brings us to our final thought. The story of English in Nigeria is one of pragmatism, of practicality, of unification, but it's born from a really complex colonial history. And it leaves us with this powerful question to chew on. What does it mean for the future of a nation's identity when its most vital, unifying language is also a direct reminder of its colonial past? It's a paradox that Nigeria lives with and navigates every single day.